At the same time, however, most of the new literature has either so damned consumer society as to make incomprehensible why it emerged at all, or so praised and affirmed it as to imply that only fools, Puritans, or masochists could have resisted or found fault with it. Today, the tendency is largely in the latter direction, toward praise and adulation, and even people who purport to be socialists or radical culture critics have embraced the idea that consumer capitalism has been, and is, basically and positively liberatory, the best system yet devised with the potential for meeting the real needs and desires of all human beings. This book attempts a fuller assessment of the culture of consumer capitalism. It discusses the economic reality that ushered it into being, the national corporations, the mass market retailers, and the banks. The book deals with the advertisers and promoters, the display artists and fashionists, and the huge number of brokers and confidence men and women who devised the riveting enticements to serve business. But the book goes well beyond an economic analysis to see the culture as a whole, as a complex set of relations and alliances among different kinds of people and groups, cultural and non-economic, religious and political, that worked together to create what merchant John Wanamaker called the Land of Desire. The first part of this book is devoted to merchants and their enticements. The second and third parts show how these merchants cooperated with educators, social reformers, politicians, artists, and religious leaders to bring into existence the new economy and culture. I want to warn the reader that Land of Desire does not focus on issues of popular consent and reception. Behavior is not the key subject of the book, although plenty of behavior is described, plenty of people affirming the new culture, opposing or hating it, celebrating it. Still, my subject is not consent, but the creation of this culture. Consent, to be sure, played some kind of role, but it was not decisive. This idea sounds like a contradiction, since we know that defenders of capitalism have always claimed that capitalism has been, and is, the most democratic of economic systems. It has not only required but also begged for popular consent in order to function. Capitalist markets cannot perform, many economists claim, unless they respond well to the real needs and desires or to the consent of consumers. Yet, I do not believe that consent was key to the creation and perpetuation of this new phenomenon. Indeed, the culture of consumer capitalism may have been among the most non-consensual public cultures ever created, and it was non-consensual for two reasons. First, it was not produced by the people, but by commercial groups in cooperation with other elites comfortable with and committed to making profits and to accumulating capital on an ever-ascending scale. Second, it was non-consensual because, in its mere day-to-day conduct, but not in any conspiratorial way, it raised to the fore only one vision of the good life and pushed out all others. In this way, it diminished American public life, denying the American people access to insight into other ways of organizing and conceiving life. Insight that might have endowed their consent to the dominant culture, if such consent were to be given at all, with real democracy. Introduction. The Land of Desire and the Culture of Consumer Capitalism. In 1906, the merchant John Wanamaker wrote that everyone who starts a new thing has to stand where Columbus did when he set sail. Few had faith that he could ever reach the Land of Desire. Wanamaker announced the emergence of a new culture coming to dominate American life. At the heart of it was the quest for pleasure, security, comfort, and material well-being. "It speaks to us," said another merchant, "only of ourselves, our pleasures, our life. It does not say, 'Pray, obey, sacrifice thyself, respect the king, fear thy master.' It whispers, 'Amuse thyself, take care of yourself.' Is not this the natural and logical effect of an age of individualism?" In the decades following the Civil War, American capitalism began to produce a distinct culture, unconnected to traditional